Hi, I'm Jeff Gonzalez, and today I want to talk to you about stress, particularly shooting under stress. It should be no surprise that under a defensive situation, you're going to be put under a tremendous amount of stress. And the problem is that that's the first time you've ever experienced that level of stress. It's very hard to expect you to perform well. So what we try to do is expose shooters early on to that level of stress. There are a lot of different ways that I can apply stress. You know, the training modifiers that we can do is I can either extend the target, I can reduce the target, I can add targets, I can add some physical exercise. All of these things are great, but one of the best ways to add stress is to introduce a timer. Introducing a timer early on is outstanding, because if you can slowly inoculate yourself to that stress that the timer creates, you're going to see positive experiences. Number one, you're going to see yourself actually getting better because you have a before and an after. The timer allows you to map, if you will, your progressions. The second part to that is that stress becomes more familiar to you. The timer becomes a familiar training tool, and it no longer stresses you out as bad as it once did, which is, again, the familiarization of that stress helps you cope with that stress. So I'm a big fan of shooting with timers. We try to get our students involved in it early on, but the one thing that I discourage is, it's not discourage, but the one thing that I try to remind people to keep in mind is that if you just go all out with the timer, you're probably going to be shooting way beyond your skill set. It's not practical to expect you not to be shooting fast, me break out a timer and expect you to shoot fast. It just doesn't work that way. So you have to incrementally work your way up to that. But it's important. It's just like, how do you become a fast runner? Well, if you want to become a fast runner, you have to run fast. Just like if you want to become a fast shooter, you have to shoot fast. But you have to shoot fast within your skill level. Number one, we don't want to be unsafe. And number two, we want to see progressions. Ultimately, what we're trying to do is build to the most realistic scenarios that we possibly can, which is force on force. That level of stress is going to be intense. And it also introduces us to the two different confidences that we have. We have skills confidence and situational confidence. So you may be really good with your firearm, that's skills confidence, but do you have the situational confidence to apply the skills confidence and have a positive experience? And that's where that force on force is so beneficial. At some point, you really need to be exposed to that. The level of stress that you get is fantastic, but again, it's that familiarization with being put in those situations. The more familiar you are with them, the less stress that you're going to feel, or more importantly, the easier you're going to be to manage that stress because it's familiar to you. So I can't stress enough the importance behind introducing stress. It has to be done appropriately, it has to be done safely, and it has to be done with future vision in mind. So hopefully you're doing that. If you have questions about how to do that, please post them down in the comments. Again, thanks for tuning in. I'm Jeff Gonzalez.